Deadline day has arrived. Premier League teams have until 11 p.m. tonight to get their business done before the window closes. We're set for a bumper day as we bring you expert analysis from former managers and players throughout the day. And of course, we want your views. The Good Morning Transfers team is in place for the next 3 hours, kicking off your deadline day this morning with myself, Tom White, Ade Oladipo and Mark McAdam. A big welcome to all of you watching at home across the Sky Sports channels and to our viewers on Sky Sports News' YouTube channel. So, this is it. It's a day that football fans across the country absolutely love, and we do too. And we start with breaking news, and it's at Liverpool. Ben Davies is having his medical at the club this morning. It comes after the club's agreed a fee of £2 million. That move from Preston, that was agreed last night. Right, Liverpool fans, what do you think? Hashtag transfer talk to get in touch. Good morning to Mark McAdam and good morning to Ade Oladipo. Ade, it's a great way to start, isn't it, with some breaking news?
It's a fantastic way to start, and that Liverpool fans will be ecstatic with this news as well. It's been a war cry from Liverpool fans in the last couple of months that we need a centre-back to come in. We probably need more than one, if we're honest, but look, let's not be greedy. Let's get one in at the door first. And I think this stems back from the summer. They never replaced Dejan Lovren, who went, and they've only had 3 senior centre-backs at the club: Joe Gomez, Jan Matip and Virgil van Dijk. Fabinho, we know, can go in that position. I think Klopp earmarked him for that position. He's overplayed him in that position. That's not what Klopp wanted to do. So I think a centre-back has been imperative. It's been important. We've seen 11 different centre-back combinations so far this season, which is ridiculous. Nat Phillips has been pushed into the role. Reece Williams has been pushed into the role. And both of them have done well considering, but that's not what Liverpool want. I thought that if Liverpool didn't get a centre-back in during this window, the Premier League was no chance for me. No chance in the Premier League, no chance in the Champions League as well. That's how important it was. I think Liverpool fans will wake up this morning ecstatic that they are getting a centre-back through the door. And no doubt Ben Davies' social media has grown twofold. In fact, let's go tenfold since this news broke late last night. But yeah, good news for Liverpool fans. Yeah,
tell us a bit more about Davies, Mark.
From the Championship to the Champions, from the Championship to the Champions League. This is a dream move for someone who's played his trade in the EFL. He was picked up by Preston as an 11-year-old boy, born in Cumbria, playing for Furness Rovers. He's made the journey. He's had several loan spells.
Hold on a minute. A bit of an issue with your microphone there, so we'll come back to talk about him in a moment. But Ade, how surprised were we by this news? Mark quite rightly said Championship to the champions. How surprised were we that it's Ben Davies and not someone else, one of their other targets?
Yeah, look, they were linked with a host of different centre-backs in this period. I mean, you went from the Sublimes, the likes of Dayot Upamecano, we know RB Leipzig, and there was conversations there about a possible move in the summer, but look, Liverpool always going to face tough competition to get him. Bayern Munich are linked, Real Madrid are linked, there was talks about Alaba as well, and there are interesting ones from Arsenal. Mustafi's been linked, Kolasinac was linked as well. Socrates was linked before he went to Olympiacos, obviously a free agent. So there were other defenders linked. But this one just makes sense for me. I think it makes sense for a number of reasons. First, the age, only 24. We know Klopp likes to develop players. A lot of time to develop him. A left-sided centre-back as well. Liverpool have struggled to find those in recent years. I think that ticks a box as well. And I just think someone coming in that's playing regular football, which was a concern for me. Someone that's coming in that's been playing football. He's been playing for Preston North End all season. He's broken into the squad, as you said, in the last sort of 3 years and almost has become a first choice. Linked to other clubs as well, Sheffield United, Celtic. So I think Liverpool have got someone here that they wanted, identified, and works for Liverpool.
Yeah, Paul says Ben Davies will hopefully bring some stability to the defence. And Mel Norris, she's actually a Preston fan, who says Liverpool getting a decent centre-back, hard-working, and has the potential to develop into a solid guy, will be missed at Preston. Well, Jurgen Klopp was asked about this after Liverpool's win at West Ham yesterday, but he was keeping his cards close to his chest.
I'm now going to throw a name at you. Ben Davies, Preston.
Tottenham. So Ben Davies as well, right?
I think there's another one.
Yeah, no, nothing to say about.
But you'd like a centre-half still? And is it possible?
So look, I said it all the time. In our situation, it makes sense. By the way, Nate Phillips played a decent game, and Millie shouted at Hendo, you better be careful. If you play like this, you will play there for the rest of your career. So
might extend it a few years.
Yes, exactly. But so we said we always our eyes are always open, and we try to fix our situation. If we can do it, I don't know.
Well, Davies' football journey to a potential move to the Champions began by joining Preston as an 11-year-old. He made his debut in 2013, aged 17. He's had to fight to establish himself, though a series of loan moves to York, Tranmere, Southport, Newport and Fleetwood. But a breakthrough came in 2017, and he's since become a mainstay at Preston, winning the club's Player of the Year award in 2019. Klopp was once again asked about the player in his post-match news conference.
Yeah, to transfer things, to transfer, we don't say anything, so nothing to say about until something is done, if something will be done.
Well, here's how Davies has performed in the Championship for the club. He's their top performing defender for recoveries, but actually 8th out of 9 for tackle success rate. For dual success, he's second, and for passes and passing accuracy, he ranks in top position. Right, Mark, I think we need to hear from you now, don't we? Now that issue is sorted. You know quite a bit about this player, so tell us a bit more than the stats have said.
I started, so I'll finish. At least you can hear me now. I was lucky enough to watch Ben play for Preston at Bristol City just a few weeks ago. And he was one of those players that kind of stood out defensively of the back four on that day. He looked solid, he looked commanding. You look through his profile, as we've just done there, 6'1", left-footed, he's technically gifted. Probably one of his biggest assets is the fact he can play out from the back, he's comfortable on the ball, and that's a necessity for a Liverpool defender. You have to be comfortable on the ball, you have to be able to use those two full-backs, Trent and Andy Robertson, that want to get forward, they want to be receiving the ball in those advanced positions, and he's someone that's very much capable of playing out from the back and doing that. He reads the game really well, and his kind of spatial awareness is really good as well. He can understand what's happening around him. Probably the weakness might be aerially. That might be where the one area where Jurgen might have to really work with him and improve that side of his game. But like you said, Addy, he comes with 250 career appearances already. He's played in the EFL, he's been out on loan a number of times, and he's ready for this challenge. It's quite interesting to think that at the start of this window, he was probably looking at his options thinking, I'm out of contract in the summer. What am I going to do? Maybe I'll sneak a really good Championship club. Maybe I might get into the bottom end of the Premier League.
This is dreamland, isn't it?
I might get to Celtic. That would be an incredible challenge. No. He's turning up at the Premier League champions. This will be bigger than any dreams he had on January the 1st.
Yeah, well, Kean Willow says Liverpool signing Ben Davies is a signing nobody saw coming, but I believe Klopp working with him and him playing in a better side, he'll become a very good centre-half at the club. Saheed, not so sure though. He says, I don't see it as an ambitious move for the champions. With a strong budget, they've got a reluctance to spend like the rest of the big clubs. But Ade, it's deadline day. Yeah. We've been saying, well, Liverpool fans have been telling us on #TransferTalk all window that they need a centre-back. Why have they waited this long? It's actually the 1st of February.
Yeah, I remember Jamie Carragher in October saying that Liverpool need a centre-back 1st of January, right? We knew the injuries to Virgil van Dijk, we knew the injuries to Joe Gomez. From the 1st of January, they should have got a centre-back in. I do wonder if Jurgen Klopp would have made the move if Joel Matip didn't get injured. It seemed to change. The mood in Klopp's interviews after seemed to change from, we're not looking at anything until the summer, until, we're going to try and get a centre-back in. And I wonder, if Joel Matip didn't get injured, maybe he wouldn't have seen Ben Davies here. But look, it's an important signing. It's a signing that makes sense, not just for the fact that he's a good centre-back, and I think we'll go on to have a decent career at Liverpool, just from the fact that we can get Henderson away from his position as a midfielder. I think Henderson's struggling, really, not necessarily struggling as a defender, but he doesn't want to play as centre-back. You've got the Euros coming up. He wants to make sure that he's nailed in to start for England in central midfield. Right now he's playing at a centre-back position. I do wonder, though, will you risk playing Nat Phillips and Ben Davies together? I think that's the question. Do you stick Henderson still back there? Do you put Fabinho back there? Or do you try them in their trusted positions in midfield and let these centre-backs do what they're supposed to do?
Well, what we know is that Ben Davies is having his Liverpool medical now, and we'll bring you any updates as soon as we get them, of course, because it is deadline day. We're asking now who else might be busy today. For now, we've picked 3 clubs in Chelsea, West Ham and Newcastle. We've already talked there about Liverpool, plenty more on them to come as well. But Mark, Chelsea, could they do anything today?
I think so. It's quite interesting listening to Thomas Tuchel last week. He said, if there's a possibility that we can do something, then we will. And it's quite interesting when you look at managers that go into football clubs for the first time, the first thing they like to do is make sure they've got a voice and a pair of eyes and ears in the dressing room that they know and trust. The good thing for Thomas Tuchel going into Chelsea is he's already got that in 2 players. He worked with Thiago Silva at PSG. He worked with Christian Pulisic at Dortmund. So he's got 2 players he's worked with before, 2 players he understands, 2 players that understand him. And I'm sure that he'll have a couple of conversations in private with those 2 about, what the dressing room's saying, what are they thinking, how happy are they, what's the thought process at the moment. So whilst he'd love to get a player in and put it in that dressing room just so that he's got an extra pair of eyes and ears, he already has 2. Interesting to see that, of course, they spent huge amounts of money over the course of the summer. Chelsea were one of the big players in the summer, spending in excess of 200 million. Will Roman Abramovich let Frank Lampard go, bring in a new manager, and then go and spend on deadline day? It looks unlikely, but I'm sure if you gave Thomas the option, he'd love to bring one player in.
Well, in terms of bringing a player in, Ade, how surprised are you that West Ham still haven't signed a striker?
Not as surprised as many think. I think when Sebastian Haller left for Ajax, a lot of people thought maybe a replacement was coming in straight away. They were linked, or we heard rumours about a number of strikers, Josh King being one of them, Youssef El Nassiri, Boulaye Idea. So many players were linked. But David Gold and David Sullivan, and we have to reiterate this, since they've been at the helm at West Ham, have seen 49 strikers come through the club. 21 of those haven't scored. How many would you say have been successful? Maybe a handful of them. The decision needs to be the right decision. You can't rush in again to buy another striker. He'll look at it and think they've got enough going forward to get them the goals. Antonio's got 5 goals this season. Bowen's got 5 goals. You hope for a bit more from the likes of Yarmolenko. Benrahma got 17 goals for Brentford last season. If he can get anywhere near half of that target, they'll do okay. And Jesse Lingard coming in could be interesting as well. Look, the last couple of seasons haven't worked out for him, but let's not forget the couple of seasons before that. He was scoring and assisting for Manchester United. So I don't think they're going to get a striker in this window. I do think they're going to look at what they've got, and the goals are going to be shared around rather than them taking a risk and rolling the dice like they've done in the past, and it hasn't worked. So I think they might hold firm until the summer.
OK, well, we'll keep an eye on that. That takes us to Newcastle, because we've been saying all window, Mark, that Newcastle have wanted 2 players. Could that happen today?
Very possibly. Keith Downey is across everything that happens in the North East. He's been saying throughout the course of this window that Steve Bruce is desperate to bring in 2 players. We know that finances are really tight at Newcastle. The 2 players that Steve Bruce would bring into the football club would be both on loan. They've been linked with a whole host of players, but as of yet not been able to get any. You get the feeling that perhaps that first win in 12 against Everton the other day would have just released the pressure valve up there, because Steve Bruce was under huge amounts of pressure. The key target was a midfielder, someone who could make things happen, someone that could be an instrumental part through the middle of the park. They've also been looking at a left back. Some of the names that they've been linked with, the likes of Hamza Chowdhury, Olivier Ncham. At left back, Brandon Williams was someone that was very much on their shopping list, but it seems now from what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said the other day that he's not going to be leaving Manchester United in this window. Jetro Willens as well, who's someone that was on loan at Newcastle before, so they have been linked with players, but the question now is, with that clock ticking, can they get those deals over the line before 11 o'clock tonight?
Right, well, don't forget, you can keep across all of the latest news and sport away from transfers. Our digital platforms are the best place to keep you up to date. You can see how Patrick Reed eased to victory at Torrey Pines. And if you've missed the goals over the weekend, head to skysports.com or the Sky Sports Football YouTube page for all of the action. Use that hashtag transfer talk to get involved in the debate and discussion still to come. We're with Kyle Walker, not that Kyle Walker. And a little bit later on, we have a very special guest with us.
Hi, I'm Matthew Horn. Catch me on Good Morning Transfers, 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. on deadline day.
This is Good Morning Transfers on deadline day, and it's a day of firsts here on Sky Sports News for many reasons. For the first time in Sky Sports history, myself and the rest of the Sky Sports News presenters are wearing sustainably sourced clothing. Why? Well, as part of the Sky Zero campaign, we're working with suppliers to reduce our carbon footprint and want to use our voice to discuss climate change issues. These are just a few of the changes that we're making today. Along with wearing sustainably sourced clothing, we're encouraging presenters and reporters to take public transport. We're only sending reporters to 4 Premier League clubs, with others based in Leeds, Glasgow and here in London. Not only that, but we're encouraging everybody to go meat-free throughout the day. These things will all help as we aim to go net carbon zero by 2030. Now, it's time to get to our first guest of the morning. He's joined us throughout the window. It's Manchester City TV presenter Kyle Walker. Kyle, good morning. Great to have you on. There have been some great deadline days for Manchester City. How exciting is it for City fans?
Oh, good morning. Yes, it is massive. Deadline day over the years has been absolutely brilliant. I think all Manchester City fans still remember the Robinho transfer deadline day where none of us believed it would happen, and it did. So, yeah, it's provided many good memories for Man City fans.
Are you hoping for or expecting anything today?
It's a weird position to be in because I don't actually think Manchester City do need anyone. People will talk about the striker situation, but look at us, top of the Premier League. We've still got a game in hand as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see any incomings into Manchester City. So, yeah, I'm not looking out too much for anyone coming today.
Kyle, let's talk about the legend that is Sergio Aguero. How worried are you that this could be his last season at City?
Yeah, definitely. Very worried because he's the last of a team that has created so many memories for Manchester City. There's a picture that often goes around on social media when one of them does leave with another greyed out space. And Sergio Aguero is the last one. We saw David Silva move on earlier on last year, and now you're looking at this right here, Sergio Aguero, what he's achieved for Manchester City, highest goal scorer for us. He's created that moment against QPR as well, but he is still a 20-goal-a-season striker, in my opinion, if he can stay injury-free. And that's the only thing that I think Manchester City fans are worried about, is how many injuries he's had. He's back in training now, though, which is great to see, and hopefully he'll be able to help us lift the Premier League this season.
Kyle, good morning. It's Mark. What do the fans make of the Eric Garcia situation? He's been linked with Barcelona. He's out of contract in the summer as well. What's the thoughts up there in Manchester?
I think very frustrated from a lot of Manchester City fans because he is still getting game time when there's a lot of youngsters that City fans believe are good enough as well. When I speak to a lot of Man City fans day in, day out, they don't understand what the situation really is and why, if he wants to be at Barcelona, why he's not gone yet. Will we lose him on a free this summer? Would that be a bad bit of business? Manchester City fans are always talked about because of that academy, and people talk about the lack of academy players coming through. Yes, we've got Phil Foden. Yes, we've got Tommy Doyle, Taylor Harwood-Bellis as well. But Eric Garcia is one that could slip through our fingers, and I think a lot of Man City fans could be a bit gutted about that because he could turn out to be such a good player.
Now, Carl, we're going to put you on the spot. It is deadline day. If you could sign just one player today, who would it be?
Oh, I mean, just one. All right. The hottest property on the planet right now, Erling Haaland. Come on, let's be honest. If we're talking about Sergio Aguero's future, all right, if he's going to be at the club for too long, he's not. He is getting older. We need to find someone who can become that kind of calibre of player, and that is what Erling Haaland is. We've seen what he's managed to achieve already, and I'm hoping he can grow into a player like Sergio Aguero. We need someone who can score plenty of goals for Manchester City. He's got connections with City as well because of his dad, let's not forget. So that's the one player I'd go to, because imagine him up top. Oh.
How confident are you that you'll be reacting like that in the summer with all the talk of Lionel Messi? Do you think you can get him in the summer?
Oh, I mean, that talk is never going to go away. And if you ask me, as a Manchester City fan, if I ever believed that Lionel Messi would be coming to Manchester City, I would have told you not a chance. It's not going to happen. But those rumours just don't seem to be going away, which is very exciting. But I think maybe that's because of Pep Guardiola. Obviously, there's the link with Sergio Aguero as well. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't, unfortunately, which is heartbreaking, because just imagine that little old City getting the best player on the planet. It would be incredible. So, fingers crossed in summer. I'd still take him. I'm not too sure about you guys.
Kyle, I'm going to ask you about the story that we've broken this morning about Ben Davies having his medical at Liverpool, obviously title rivals for Manchester City. What do you make of that potential deal?
I think Liverpool had needed to bring somebody in for a while. We saw the injury midweek as well, which has obviously meant that they've had to put these plans into place. It's a bit worrying that they've not done that earlier on in the transfer window. Last day of it, deadline day today, you're thinking, well, why is that? Did they believe that they've been able to cope with that? If Liverpool can come out of this and they can still be title challengers, they can still rival Manchester City and Manchester United towards the end of the season, that just shows what this team can do and what this group of players can do, how they can pull together. Jordan Henderson stepping in, going into the back. Manchester City had that problem last season with Fernandinho having to do that. So I think City fans understand the frustrations when it comes to centre-back injuries. But can you win the Premier League without your main centre-back? Manchester City couldn't do it last season. We've had to bring in Ruben Diaz now. So I think Liverpool fans, they'll be a bit worried because they've lost two huge stars. Well, more now. Virgil van Dijk, Joe Gomez as well as Matip. So I think that, they're a little bit worried. But great news, positive news, and hopefully they can still challenge.
Kyle, every Tuesday that you've been on in this window, I've been lucky enough to be able to watch on my sofa at home, and every week Emma Payton has a laugh with you about the book over your left shoulder. It changed last week, but Wenger's back.
It is, it is. What's quite funny is I've actually got the other book right here, but I thought I wouldn't put that one up. Mark tweeted me earlier on in the week, so I thought I've got to put the Wenger book back just for him. I don't want him to feel left out or anything.
Kyle, it's been great to speak to you all of this window, and I hope you have a good deadline day.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
Ada, you asked a question to Kyle there about Sergio Aguero. How sad would you be to see him leave the Premier League?
Very sad. I think, and me and JD were going back and forth a couple of weeks ago, and I said I think he's the best striker we've seen in the Premier League. It's definitely a debate between him and Alan Shearer, Thierry Henry as well. But just an absolutely fantastic player for Manchester City. We're never going to forget that Aguero moment against QPR many, many years ago to win their first Premier League titles. 256 goals in 379 games for City is absolutely ridiculous. Sometimes I wonder if it's because of what Ronaldo and Messi are doing that we don't look at these stats and awe in them. I mean, that's fantastic for them. What Carl did say, though, is that he's still a 20-goal season striker if they can keep him fit. 23 goals last season. So that argument does stand. But just the 5 appearances so far in the Premier League this season, 9 appearances so far this season, all competitions, it's just not enough, is it? It's just not enough. They are going to need to probably replace him in the summer. And if they do, I mean, Haaland would be fantastic. I hope it doesn't happen, personally, because if they do get Haaland, I think they're going to win the title for many, many years. But look, fantastic servant for City. And if it is his last season, let's hope he does get fit, score some goals. And let's hope Prowls can come back in, because he's one player that deserves a round of applause from every end of that City stadium.
You get the feeling that perhaps Sergio's looking at the situation, he's looking at everything he's won at Manchester City, and maybe if they have a successful campaign this season, he might just go, I'm going to walk away on a high as a free transfer. I've got one more big move in me, one more big opportunity to get some money and play for another huge club in European football. And if this season goes right, I'll walk away with my head held high, knowing I've achieved everything I wanted to at Manchester City.
Yeah. I know why you jumped in there, Mark, because you know what my next question is. It's the most difficult question I'm going to ask all day. In the Premier League era, is Sergio Aguero Manchester City's best signing?
It's something that will be rumbled and debated
for hours,
days, years. I have to say, I think it would be him or Vincent Kompany, a toss of a coin.
David Silva, Yaya Toure?
They've all been brilliant players. You get the feeling that Vincent Kompany was a leader, was a rock. Without him at the back, Sergio Aguero wouldn't have been Sergio Aguero up front. It was like they were lucky enough to both be at the the club at the same time, the same era, playing at their absolute best in that same team. I think it's almost like a hand in hand. You couldn't have one without the other because, let's be honest, Sergio Aguero's goals would have been nothing if Manchester City weren't keeping clean sheets and winning games.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be one of those that will rumble on. But Vincent Kompany was a proper leader.
Does he get a statue?
Maybe they could get a statue together.
Can they get a statue together?
Yeah, I think that would be fair.
Yeah.
That's even more of a debate because all the names I've just mentioned, there's still De Bruyne, and I always throw Georgie Kinkladze in there as well.
Oh, let's not forget Georgie Kinkladze.
Alan Oakes.
Right, well, that's the Premier League era. Right, we'll move
a
from
Man
one side
City
of
legend.
Manchester to another as our focus turns to United as we get the perspective on the window at Old Trafford. Plus, we'll be discussing Arsenal next.